I remember that. I had a friend named Chris in elementary, and he had all kind of warts, and they would be like, "Don't be his friend, don't be his friend." But they were like other people or parents is like, "Well, it's just because he played with frogs." So who knows?
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
So it definitely was difficult. It was very emotional because we were tied into this child directly. We saw her. The last time we saw her, she was coloring. She was the sweetest little girl that you could possibly ever wish for.
Right.
And one of the questions, before I went on the stand on Friday, the attorney asked me, how was the mom in the room? Was she close to her? Where was she? So, in response to that, the mom was very withdrawn. For instance, as you guys can see, these guys right here, let's say this was the stretcher, and the baby, or the 4-year-old, was where T is. The mom was over here, like off camera. Like she would have been over here.
Yeah.
She wasn't
not
close by. Her arms were crossed. She was kind of like, she had a look on her face like, shit, I gotta be here to do this shit.
Right.
No
concern.
Right, no concern. So when I told the attorney that, I said, she was withdrawn. She wasn't close to the child. The attorney had the audacity, I don't know if she's a parent or not, to ask me, well, aren't most parents like that? No? At a hospital? If you're taking your child to the hospital for any concern, you're going to be either sitting right next to that child, the child's going to be on your lap, or you're going to be in the bed with the kid. We've seen it all. I work in this place.
Some kind of contact.
Exactly. You're going to be next to him. And she wasn't. Needless to say, she didn't ask me that question on the stand. She left that question
Oh, when was
out.
that?
Friday.
Oh.
This went down Friday. She was found guilty on Monday. She faces 4 to 20 years for, I believe it was reckless endangerment of a child by omission.
So what happened?
Unintentional. That's what got me.
Unintentional? Was that? I didn't read the whole thing.
Yeah, that's what it said in the article, was that they went for the lesser charge because they said it was reckless, but it was somehow unintentional, which I'm not quite understanding.
Well, from what I understand, what I know about this case is she essentially kind of just stood by and let it happen, or maybe wasn't actually there physically when it did happen.
And what is it?
The abuse. The child ended up dying after. When she died, I should say it like this, because I don't know all the issue, or I don't know all the evidence. I know from what I've been told, she had over 30 bruises. 80 bruises. She was sexually abused. She had a fractured skull. She had broken ribs, and she had a lacerated pancreas.
Golly.
So you have to have been hit very hard, thrown very hard. And the mama was saying, oh, she fell off the toilet.
So get the fuck out of here.
In all my education and all the abuse that I saw, you have to be thrown up against a wall, a floor, something extremely hard. Extremely hard.
Yeah,
so it's not something that if you stood up on this chair and fell directly on your head, you're not going to crack it.
Right.
Because it's not enough force, it's not enough height. So for a 4-year-old to be standing on a toilet, what's that? Maybe 4 feet? Because she was maybe 3 feet tall, maybe. So you add another foot to that. It's not enough force to cause the damage to her skull like this guy did. And so another part to this is that mama took her from the house and was driving her to the hospital. And at one point, and I don't know that this was ever made public, but at one point tried to super glue her scalp together.
What?
Because she had a huge she had a huge cut on her forehead, on her skull, and was bleeding. So she tried to glue it together. And then at some point in between home and the hospital, she stopped and called 911 from the street, like from the road.
Yeah.
After she supposedly super glued her daughter's skull shut, so it wouldn't be so noticeable.
Horrible.
And on top of all of this, she's a nurse, or she was a nurse. She's not gonna be a nurse anymore.
See, that's the thing. People were talking about this because apparently there was a similar case with the father of the child who beat his 6-year-old son to death, and then the girlfriend was on trial for omission. That one, still think I think they should put her under the jail, but with that one, I think they could at least make a case for what they've shown now for unintentional guilt by omission. But for this, the fact that she lied several times, saying there was no new man in her house.
Right.
The fact that she said the baby fell instead of, got the hell beaten out of him. The fact that she tried to cover it up shows me that she knew this was going on.
Exactly.
And was actively trying to protect this guy. So I don't see how. I think she got off too early, too easy.
I completely agree.
With you being on the case, that's what I was going to ask. We have our opinions. We say everything we think. With you being personally involved, what were your thoughts?
Oh, I think she should have gotten fried. I think she should have gotten fried. And a lot of people don't realize, here's some background to this, is myself and 2 other people from this hospital had to go in front of the grand jury and testify to try to even get her indicted.
Huh?
Yeah. A lot of people don't know. That was maybe 6 months ago, 7 months ago, something like that. Maybe
to get her
8 months
indicted.
ago. She hadn't even been indicted for it because they were looking at the boyfriend for all of this. The boyfriend. And when we found out, we're like, oh, but wait a minute. What boyfriend?
Right.
Because she lied to us.
Right.
Because if she would have said, well, yeah, I have a new boyfriend, then we would have made sure that CPS would have known that she had a new boyfriend. But we find out all kinds of stuff after the fact. So we can only go by what people tell us. That's all we can go by. We can't ask. If that's all who's there to ask or to talk to, then that's all we get. So as soon as we heard all of this, I was pissed. I was so pissed. She should have gotten the chair. She should have found the same kind of death. And who's to say she's going to a Texas prison?
Right.
She might not. She might eventually find it. But yeah, she definitely got off too easy. Running behind a 26-year-old when she was 38, 39, 36 maybe.
Yeah.
It was a good 10 years difference.
Yeah.
And he had a previous child abuse case.
So how does these traits slip through the system?
You go by what the mama says. Mama says, I live with my husband.
Right.
This is who lives in the house. So why would...
Yeah.
If I'm telling you that, if I'm telling you sitting here and I'm saying, well, I'm really from Scandinavia and I have